another Ziploc bag with large amounts of marijuana. The officer also observed a Ziploc bag of narcotic mushrooms, and a scale with marijuana residue on the surface located next to a large stack of other Ziploc bags. The defendant had $274 in cash. The man claimed ownership of the narcotics in the bag as well, and admitted that the items were marijuana and
Psilocybin,
excuse
the
me.
mushrooms.
Yes, sir. The defendant stated that she drank one margarita and that she also smoked marijuana. Surrounding field sobriety tests were conducted, and the officer observed 4 to 6 clues on the HGN, 4 to 8 on the walking turn, and 2 out of 4 on the one-leg stand. The defendant refused to provide blood specimen. Search warrant was obtained. The defendant flailed and resisted during the blood draw. The defendant continued to flail and spit on officers and was eventually transferred to a hospital. Blood draw was unsuccessful due to the defendant flailing. Finally, there was another attempt and the blood draw was successful.
Salas, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. If you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, you better address it, because if you don't, and it becomes a problem, I'm going to do it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm sending you for a test right now, and you're to come right back. Do you understand? If you fail to take the test, if you fail to come back, a warrant will issue. Do you understand?
So you want me to take a test right now?
Right
Yeah.
now.
It's not gonna come out clean.
I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. Come back and then we'll talk further. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer today. Take the test, come back. You understand?
Okay.
You're not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to test you like crazy. Do you understand? If you use after today, it's not going to go well. As far as the marijuana is concerned, I'm going to test you like 50 days from today to ensure there's enough time for it to pass. If you continue to test positive, do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm giving you the ability, I'm giving you the opportunity now to stop on your own. If you're unable to, that's when things will go sideways real quick. Does she have a valid license? And then any prior DWIs as well?
It's a true first and her license is valid.
Okay, all right. So for now, I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Ramona. I'm gonna have you get with Fleischer, and I'll see you in about half an hour.
Okay.
Please.
This courtroom session wastes absolutely no time, and neither does this judge. Within seconds, we're thrown into a case involving drugs, repeat offenses, and a defendant who just made a very costly mistake. But here's where it gets intense. This isn't just about one charge. It's about a pattern of behavior that the judge clearly warned against, and now, the consequences are hitting hard. From bond revocations to heated exchanges, every decision in this courtroom carries serious weight. The real question is, when someone ignores a direct warning from the court, should they get another chance? Or is jail the only answer left? Stay with us, because this quickly spirals into something much bigger than a simple possession charge.
You know, pills are a complete curse on our nation, because depending on what you're taking, they become so powerful, the addiction, that for you to get off, when you try to get off by yourself, you'll convulse, seize, you can have a heart attack. Not only that, you build up a tolerance and you keep taking, you keep taking. At some point, you will put your lungs to sleep and you die. It happens every single hour in this nation.
Yeah.
I don't want you to use. If I find that you're using, then I'm going to put you in jail and you're just going to stay with me. It's going to happen one way or the other. I don't want you to use, and I'm going to test you like crazy to ensure that you're not using. Do you understand?
What if I get it medically? Like
A prescription.
yeah, like a prescription.
That can still be abused. And if you're going to pill mills to just shop for prescriptions, I have a problem with that as well. Just because the last thing I want, there's an accident in this case, right?
Well, no, yeah.
The car accident?
The last thing I want is another death on the street and something major to happen. So I don't want you to use. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Did we put a scram on her ankle, right? Yeah. That device is going to tell me if you're consuming alcohol at any time. Do not put anything in your body that's alcohol, that has alcohol in it. NyQuil, cakes, candies,
I took
foods,
Mucinex for coming, and I'm sick right now. So I do nasal spray.
Okay.
They told me that
Before you put anything in your body, read the instructions to ensure that there's no alcohol in it. I have everybody and their mom telling me here, well, I took NyQuil. I took this. It doesn't matter. You're not to use anything that has alcohol in it.
Mhm.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Don't use anything unless you have a valid prescription. And then I don't want you to abuse it, even if you do get one.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have a lawyer. It's your responsibility to stay in touch with her.
Mhm.
Again, I'm going to test you 50 days from today. If you're still testing positive for weed, it's not going to go well. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had another question. Whenever I went to
Hold on. No. Ask your lawyer. I don't want you to, I've got a bunch of DAs here and I don't want you to say something that hurts your case. So ask the lawyer first. She can always come up to me and then we can talk. Don't just start asking things here.
I'm like, no, it was just about the court date. It was about the court date.
Caramba la bamba.
I'm like,
You
yeah,
can pick whatever day you want. I don't care.
okay. Okay. I'll talk to you about that then.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Okay. All right.
You didn't do anything until you said her.
Okay, so yeah, I want to scram on her ankle and I want her to test weekly so that we know she's not using. Okay?
I wanted to talk to you about that too.
Okay.
I'm going to waive all your fees. It's never about the money. I don't care about the money. It's about you not using and staying out of trouble.
I don't have no card.
She can
Like
tell you how to
this.
do that. Monday, Thursday?
Just one time a week, random. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
If as fast as we can get it to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
today my dad's here, but that's for today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good luck, Miss Ellis.
To be excused, Judge.
Yes.
Okay. We have,
All right. You are Kara Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
On March 26, 2025, the officer was dispatched to a crash on Antoine Drive, Orange County, Texas. The officer learned that an unknown party called 911 at the time of the crash. And was informed by another officer who arrived on scene that the observant clinic being treated by ambulance. The officer informed the defendant informed the other officer that the defendant had already been transported to receive medical care. After stroke with will witness, who stated that the defendant was assaulted and struck the witness's vehicle causing damage. The witness stated they observed strong alcohol beverage drinking from the defendant and the witness got in contact with him. The witness stated that the defendant was still in the driver's seat at the time of their interaction and that it was clear that the defendant was intoxicated. The witness reported that the defendant had slurred speech, was incoherent, and not making sense. The police stated to the witness, I don't know why. The witness reported that being called and put itself on a crash. And immediately after that call, the defendant grabbed a bottle of vodka and consumed the entire thing in front of the witness.
What?
Yes, Sherman.
She took a bottle of vodka and consumed an entire bottle of vodka in front of the will witness?
That's what I have here. The will witness noted that the defendant drank the alcohol bottle as if the defendant was drinking water.
Just when you think you've heard it all, man. I mean, really.
The officer, the officer observed an empty bottle of chocolate vodka, and then went to the hospital to make contact with the defendant. The officer observed the strong odor of alcohol beverage in the defendant, observed the defendant have slurred speech and glossy eye. The officer, read the DIC form for the defendant when the defendant became coherent. And, they proceeded to a breath test and blood. With the charge of the defendant and the defendant was transported to the drug processing center. But was unable to perform the standardized physical rights test due to the defendant's failure to follow instructions and to keep the defendant's, and the inability of the defendant to keep her head up. The officer took the defendant's failure to follow instructions as a refusal. After was unable to get the defendant to stand upright to perform HDN and due to the physical condition, the officer did not, ask the defendant to perform walking child or to stand. The officer concluded, the officer offered the opportunity to provide breath and blood, the defendant declined to provide, breath or blood. And the officer proceeded with a residual search warrant for the defendant's blood. The officer was advised, sorry. The officer was advised the blood would be ready in 2 to 3 days. The officer noted that, that's all I have.
Do you have blood back? Or no?
I do not. I'm not sure if that in the is referring to. The warrant was presented to the hospital, Your Honor, and a nurse advised that the blood is ready for 2 to 3 days. The officer.
Do you have any pride to guys?
There was one in Caldwell County that was dismissed, Your Honor.
License?
License being. Your Honor?
This is who, Judge?
It's not on docket. I have to give you a case number. You ready?
Yeah.
255-7402.
Thank you.
If you speak English, right?
Yes.
If you have a problem with alcohol or drugs, now is the time for you to address it. Because stop. There's nothing that you can say at this moment. I'm warning you now, because this is the only one that you're going to get. I will do everything in my power to protect my city at all costs. I don't care who you are, what color you are, if you're a small farm animal. If I find that you're using, it's not going to go well. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now is the time for you to try to get any help if you need help, because I don't know you. I've never met you before. All I know is what they're telling me. And if that's in fact true, now is the time for you to address it. I am going to put a monitor on your ankle so I know that you're not consuming alcohol at any time. I will not entertain any excuses like it's mouthwash, it's a tequila lollipop, hair dye. I've heard it all, and excuses mean nothing to me. If you consume, it's not going to go well. Because of I don't want you in a car driving. You're not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you do, it's really not going to go well for you. I am putting now a restriction on your license that you are not allowed to drive any vehicle that's not equipped with an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught, and I'm sending this notice to DPS, so everybody, every officer in this state knows, if they pull you over and they don't see an interlock, they will take you to jail. You understand? And then you and I will have problems. Just don't.
Judge, this is Carl Lopez first,
Yes, ma'am.
and then you said no driving?
Correct.
Thank you.
And then it's grand, please.
Yes, Judge.
You have the ability to hire a lawyer, ma'am. We will give you an application. You missed court once. A warrant is now in effect for you because you missed court the first time. I will reinstate your bond now, but this is the only get out of jail free card that you get. If you miss court again, you violate any of these conditions, you will stay with me. And I don't know who you have in this life, but if you don't have anyone to pony up $5,000 to $10,000, you will be stuck like Chuck until this case is over. Do you understand? All right, come up. We'll have you sign this. I need you to fill an application. Deputy Miranda's going to give you an application and we'll go from there.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir. Sir, you are Said, is it Said?
Say it, yeah.
Said. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. On April 5th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, officers observed the defense vehicle going 105 miles an hour on the Northwest Freeway in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. The traffic stop was initiated, and the officer observed the defendant to be driving the sole occupant. And the defendant was identified by a German identification card. Officer observed bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, and strong odor of an alcoholic beverage from the defendant. The defendant stated he would not answer questions and would not perform standardized sobriety tests. A breath test was refused, and the officer observed 3 empty beer bottles and an empty bottle of wine in his motor vehicle. A blood warrant was obtained and a blood draw was executed.
Trying to tell me that he's consuming while driving.
And just have a moment, Your Honor. Does not specify, Your Honor.
Regardless, Mr. Said, you are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid license to drive. You understand?
That's right.
All I heard here was a German identification card. If you do not have a license to drive and liability insurance in your name, then you're not allowed to drive, and that is a condition of your bond. If I find that you violate these conditions, then I'm going to put you in jail. No more PR bond. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, likewise, into jail you will go. No more PR bonds.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know what your immigration status is, but if you're not in this country with permission, if your paperwork is not done the right way and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they will put an immigration detainer and you will be stuck like Chuck in there until this case is over with, which could be 6 months, and then you get shipped off to immigration. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
No, Your Honor, I'm not allowed to work right now.
Okay, I can have you fill out an application. I need to know everything about you, how much money you have at the bank, how you get money, how kind of cars you have, property, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs. I'll take a look to see whether you qualify, and then we'll go from there. We'll have you give you an application. I'll have you sign a reset with Ramona, and then we'll have you take your signature box.
You said no driving?
Unless, does he have any kind of,
From what I have, Your Honor, he does not have a license.
I do have a license.
well,
Without insurance? and-
with the no driving without a valid license and insurance? Okay, all right. To qualify, you have to be at the poverty threshold to qualify. If you make the kind of money that you make, you don't qualify. This life is not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you spend. Spend too much and you get into a hole, we can't foot the bill for the taxpayers,
Yes, Your Honor.
make good money, which is great, right?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my wife.
Stop. I don't want you to say anything. Just, so we're going to give you time. There's a gajillion and one lawyers out there. It's about you finding the one. It's like buying a car. You don't go, when you're starting off in life, you don't go buy a Lamborghini or a Bentley or a Ferrari. You go to Toyota, Honda, and lawyers, 99% of them will put you on a payment plan as you go. You have to negotiate with them. Don't take them at first blush. There's literally a gajillion and one lawyer, criminal defense lawyers out there. So if you don't find one or one's not willing to negotiate, go to the next one, because there's tons of them out there. Okay. All right. We're going to give you 30 days. Don't wait. There's a lot of timing requirements with the DWI. So don't sit there and, I'm going to wait until 29 days to start looking. You're only hurting yourself. Okay. Okay. Good luck. Oh, I would also probably look for one, the immigration as well, if you're not a citizen of this country. Okay.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Good morning, Mr. White.
Good morning.
You were charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. On April 5th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, officer who dispatched reference to a minor accident call. An officer contacted the defendant who was standing next to his motor vehicle. Then the officer arrived. The defendant said he drank a total of 5 beers that day. The defendant stated he last drank 30 minutes before the accident. Strong odor of an alcoholic beverage was emitting from the vehicle, and the defendant was transported to the hospital to treat injuries. The defendant was stated he was scared to blow and failed the test. DIC was read and the defendant eventually submitted to the breath test and blew .091.
So there's an accident.
Yes, Your Honor.
I guess they took him to the hospital. They didn't do field ride tests. I mean, it just,
Yes, Your Honor. If I just have a moment, I'm trying to clear by here in the dens.
don't. Please.
An accident, the officers find the defendant standing outside of the truck.
Alone?
So, Your Honor. And then stated he was following someone and looking at his GPS because he wasn't familiar with the area and was unaware that cars were parked on the side of the street. The defendant said that he had been drinking throughout the day. Total of 5 beers, the last one was 30 minutes prior. Officers observed a strong odor of alcoholic beverages from the vehicle. EMS was called to the scene because the defendant had a gash on his chin. He was then transported to the hospital to be checked out. After being released from the hospital, the officers asked him to consent to a breath test. And the defendant said he was scared to blow because he knows he just finished a beer and knew he was going to fail the test. The defendant then agreed to blowing once they got to JPC and the defendant.
So they took him directly from the hospital to the JPC.
Retro.
Mhm. Okay. Mr. White, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. Do not consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, it's not going to go well. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Can you prior DWIs and a license, please?
Yes, sure.
It's a true first and the license is eligible.
Great. Unless you have liability insurance in your name as well, you're not allowed to drive. You understand? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, sir?
I'm not sure yet. I can make a phone call and see if he'll take my case. If not, I'm gonna need a court
Look,
appointment.
I can give you time. Just, time is of the essence. This is the DWI. So don't sit there and wait a month, 2 months, because you're only hurting yourself.
I can go make the phone call right now.
No. Don't do anything. I will give you time. You don't need to run out, rush now, but I'm saying don't sit there, wait a week or two because you're only hurting yourself. So what I can have you do, sign a reset with Ramona. I'll have you get Fleischer for your bond conditions. After that, you're free to go. Don't use. Do you understand?
So if I understand, you're just gonna reset it and that's gonna give me time to either get a lawyer or y'all gonna appoint one.
Right, so.
I'll have to come
go out
back and do
there,
the same
see-
thing I'm doing now.
Have trouble, come back in the next setting and then we can talk.
Come back in the next.
The next reset date, yeah.
set. Okay, so I will have to come
We're
back
gonna
to
give you
court.
30 days from today. So we're gonna give you a lot of time. If you still have issues, come back and we can
I
talk.
was just kind of hoping I have to come back. to court.
I wish I had hair. Ain't gonna happen. Well, maybe I get an implant. Good morning, Mr. Valerian. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one.
On April 6, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, an officer received a call to assist the fire department regarding a driver passed out in a drive-through of a Burger King restaurant. The firefighter told the officer he saw the defendant passed out behind the wheel, the engine still running, and the key in the ignition. Firefighter woke the driver up, and eventually, when the officer came on scene, he identified the defendant by his Texas driver's license. The officer noticed the strong odor of alcoholic beverage, glossy bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, and unsteady balance from the defendant. The defendant also appeared confused. The defendant stated he left Bango's bar and where he had one Corona beer. The officer conducted standardized first riot test where he witnessed 6 out of 6 clues on the HDN test, 6 out of 8 on the walk and turn, and then read the DIC form. The defendant refused. A blood warrant was signed and blood draws.
All right, sir, I'm going to find that there is sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, it's not going to go well for you. Do you understand? Do you have any prior DWIs and a license?
And the license is eligible.
Okay, you're not allowed to drive unless you also have valid liability insurance in your name. That is a condition of your bond as well. Do you understand? No alcohol, no illegal drugs. Do not pick up any new cases, otherwise you will go back to jail. I'll have you sign a receipt with Ramona. We'll have you get with Fleischer your bond conditions, and after that, you guys are free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
Morning, Mr. Carlton. Morning. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. On April 5th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, a law enforcement officer was dispatched to a person down call and made contact with the real witness, a law enforcement officer who stated that they found the defendant asleep behind the wheel of a vehicle that had rolled onto the median of the road. The vehicle was running but not moving when they found the vehicle. The real witness woke the defendant up and placed the defendant in the back of their patrol car. I should specify, the real witness was the law enforcement officer. Law enforcement officer making contact with the defendant who was slurring his words and had dilated pupils. The defendant admitted to drinking 2 beers at a restaurant, and defendant was presented with a DIC form but refused to sign it. Standardized sobriety test was later conducted, and the law enforcement officer observed 6 out of 6 clues on the HGN, 4 out of 8 on the walking turn, and 0 out of 4 on the one leg stand. The defendant eventually consented to a breath test in blue 0.063 and 0.064.
Find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. If I find that you're using, I will put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Can you see if he has any prior DWIs? And then if he has a valid license, please.
Yes. His license is not eligible, Your Honor, and no prior age.
Okay. You're not allowed to drive. I don't care what you have to do in this life. I don't care if there's a burning building and you have to say 50 kids, do not drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You will be signing an affidavit with me today. This is a promise you're going to make to me. You can't justify getting into a car for any reason. If you do, I can have a contempt hearing. You could be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, Mr. Carlton? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to give you time to go hire a lawyer. I will have you first come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I will get you to Ramona, where we will have you sign a reset. You will get with Felicia for your bond condition where you promise us you're not going to use.
Sure.
Don't pick up any new cases. Don't be a danger to my city. Do you understand?
Sure.
Okay,
Gotcha.
come on. Speak English, sir.
Yes, English.
Mr. Castro, you're charged with reckless driving. You're facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
On April 3rd, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, a law enforcement officer computed information about a community takeover event and went to the location that was put on social media. The law enforcement officers conducted surveillance on the location in an unmarked vehicle and witnessed a vehicle making donuts and get within close proximity of several parked occupied vehicles. Law enforcement officer initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle and detained the defendant, the driver of the vehicle making donuts.
Any prior reckless driving cases, and then can you see if he has a license, please?
There are no prior reckless driving cases, Judge. There was a DWI and the evading being brought to Dauphin County, just.
At Hidalgo?
Addition.
Okay, anything else?
And driver.
Mr. Castro, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now not to participate in this activity anymore or drive recklessly, maniacally. If I find that you do, the first thing I'm going to do is put you in jail. And the next thing is I will take your ability to drive away from you while this case is open. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Living in a city as big as Houston without the ability to drive blows. Not only that, people who participate in these types of activities, cops and DA's office can seize and take your car away from you permanently. And I've seen it happen on multiple occasions where people lose their $100,000 car because they. Do you understand?
Sir.
You put bond conditions, no donuts, street takeovers, reckless driving, racing, et cetera, please. Mr. Castro, do you have the ability to hire a lawyer? We're going to give you time. So I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. After that, I'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. Do not leave until you sign the bond conditions. After that, we'll let you go. When you come back, please have a lawyer.
Judge, I apologize. You say no driving or just no
No,
reckless?
no reckless driving, donuts, street takeovers, racing. and all of that.
Let's break this down, because this moment is critical. The judge isn't just reacting to a marijuana charge here. The real issue is that the defendant picked up a new case while already out on bond. That's a direct violation of trust with the court. In most jurisdictions, bond comes with strict conditions, and one of the biggest is simple: do not get into more trouble. When that rule is broken, judges often respond immediately, just like we saw here, by revoking bond altogether. That means the defendant goes straight back into custody. And notice the judge's tone: it's not just frustration, it's enforcement. So now the stakes have escalated dramatically. What do you think? Should one mistake cancel someone's freedom like this, or is the judge right to draw a hard line?
This is Taishika Jackson,
Yes, sir.
and you're charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or $4,000. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. But the right to remain present if you cannot afford one.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. On March 26, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, officers were dispatched to a disturbance call. The officer met with the complaining witness, who stated that the defendant is from roommate. The complaining witness stated that they got into an argument over a broom, and the defendant struck her on the head with the broom, causing pain. The officer observed a raised bump on the complaining witness's head that was starting to become discolored.
Ma'am, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this complaining witness. You're also ordered not to be in possession of weapons. If you violate this order, I'm going to put you in jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand, ma'am?
No, sir.
There's a protective order that has been issued in this case. I would get to know it. If you do something to violate the protective order, they can file additional charges against you, a violation of a protective order, and that is the capital murder of misdemeanors. Do you understand? It's one of the worst cases you can pick up. So don't violate the protective order.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
No.
Okay. I can appoint you a lawyer or I can have you fill out an application. Let me see if you filled one out first. Hold on. I have an application on file already. I have it on file. So what I can do is I can appoint you a lawyer today. We're going to create bond conditions for you. Do not leave until you sign those bond conditions. Otherwise, I'll issue a warrant. The bond conditions: no contact, no weapons.
Okay.
All right. For now, I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Gomez. So he's got two cases, right? The trespass
Judge.
and the DWI?
Taking a time served to the DWI, they're dismissing the criminal trespass.
Now, if I'm correct, you're on felony probation in another county, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it?
It's Bear County, Judge, it's aggravated robbery.
You're looking at 20 years in prison, you know? Not only that, it's a 3G offense, meaning that if they revoke you and send you to prison, you have to do half the time before you're even eligible for parole. So if they send you to 12, you're doing 6 before you're even eligible. Now you got these two cases. When is it going to register to you that we mean business, that you can't continue like this, unless you want to go to prison, of course? You need to understand that by pleading guilty to these cases here now, they may use this to revoke your probation in Bear County. Do you understand?
Sure.
Now, I don't know if they're going to, but they can. And I'm going to tell you, the more cases that you pick up, the higher likelihood you have of that happening, because they are going to be like, well, this guy just, doesn't take us seriously.
Sure.
You are giving up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement, Mr. Gomez. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported. excluded from the country, denied naturalization, you give up the rights to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, you're done with this. You can never come back and change this or undo this. When you're in a car and you're driving and you get pulled over, the first thing an officer does is they look at your criminal history. If they roll up to your car, they look at and they see that you're on probation for an aggravated robbery, you have been charged with a trespass and a DWI, and they come up to you. You think it's going to go well? So I probably wouldn't give them the ammunition from now on. If you want to get lit, don't get into a car. Even if you've had a sip of alcohol, you understand.
Yes, sir.
As part of the agreement, it's 20 days in jail on the DWI, 16 days credit, and they're going to dismiss the trespass. Is this how you understand it? You also, I'm going to make a docket notation that I have advised you that by pleading guilty to these offenses, it's possible they revoke your probation in Bear County. Do you still want to do this, or do you want to wait to see what happens over there?
To do this.
You want to do this?
And he's been in communication with probation over there, Judge. And basically, they gave him the option of either being unsatisfactorily terminated. Is that correct, Mr. Gomez?
Yes, unsuccessful.
Or he could have it extended in an attempt to get it successfully terminated. And so he chose to have it extended to pursue that option.
What we just witnessed is a powerful reminder of how quickly things can escalate inside a courtroom. Across multiple defendants, the pattern is clear. Repeat offenses, poor decision-making, and failure to follow simple conditions all lead to stricter consequences. Whether it's picking up a new charge while on bond, ignoring trespass warnings, or driving under the influence, the judge consistently emphasizes one thing: accountability. But at the same time, there's also an effort to offer structure, through probation, monitoring, and rehabilitation opportunities. The system isn't just about punishment, it's about giving people a chance to correct course, but only if they take it seriously. Now we want to hear from you. Who do you think handled their situation the worst in this courtroom? And do you agree with how the judge responded in these cases? If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.